Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go ahead and look at our third problem here, which is going ahead and looking through and finding using the quadratic formula for our first one. So here's problem number 3, and we have our quadratic formula, and we're going to plug in to our quadratic formula an a of 2, a b of -3, and a c of -9. Be careful as you're doing this. Make sure that you are putting your parentheses in. Now, we know we have to solve 2 problems in the beginning here. Underneath the square root, we're going to do -3 squared, which is 9. And then our second problem is -4 times 2 times -9. So that gives us 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 plus 72. We're continuing to go ahead and take a look. We're adding 9 plus 72, which is 81. We're now going to split it into 2 separate problems, one with 3 plus the square root of 81 and one with 3 minus the square root of 81. So we have x equals 3 plus 9 divided by 4, which is 12 divided by 4, which is 3. So one of our roots is at 3. And we have 3 minus 9 divided by 4, which is -1.5. So those are our 2 answers. You're going to get a point for each of those and a point for your work. So that part is worth 3. Now our second one here, you can use whichever method you want to solve. You can use a generic rectangle diamond problem, or you can use the quadratic formula. But in our product form, we end up with x minus 7 times x plus 1. We have to go a step further, however, set each of those equal to 0 to find our roots, which is solving completely. So we have x minus 7 is 0. We add 7 to both sides, so our first root is 7. You get 1 point for that. The second one, we're going to go ahead and subtract 1 from both sides, and so x is -1. So you once again have 3 points. 1 for the correct root of 7, 1 point for the correct root of -1, and 1 point for your work. So problem number 3 altogether is going to be worth 6 points. Moving on to problem number 4, you're going to graph the following inequalities on the line. So looking at A, we're going to go ahead and do our first point by graphing our y-intercept, which is -1. We're then going to go ahead and move our slope, which is down 1 and 2 to the right. We now take a look and we see that it is a greater than sign, and greater than means that it's going to be a dashed line going through those, and greater than means that it's going to be above shaded. So we go ahead and take a look at our next one over here for B, and we see we have a y-intercept of 3. We're going to go down 1 and 1 to the left, and we have a solid line because it's less than or equal to, and less than means that we're going to graph below that line. So for each of these problems, you're going to have 1 point for the y-intercept, 1 point for moving the slope, 1 point for the correct dashed line or solid line, and 1 point for shading the correct side. So each of these are going to be worth 4 points. So 8 points altogether for question number 4. We're going to go ahead and move on for our next video for problem number 5 in just a minute. And once again, make sure that you are correcting carefully. As you know, these are going to be similar to the problems that you're going to see on your final test, which is going to be through Elluminate on Thursday.